Hey everyone, this is Charmaine from Fantastic Crafts. I hope all of you are having a wonderful, wonderful day. Today we're going to be doing my last guest design team project for Maymay. And before I start the tutorial, I really did want to say a big thank you to Maymay and her team for allowing me to be part of their design team. It has been a wonderful experience. I got so much experience and I got so much better at what I do, and I'm forever grateful for all their advice, all their help, and it warms my heart to actually be or have been a part of such a wonderful group of crafters. In this tutorial, I'm going to be using some of my favorite products and stamp sets. One of the stamp set is the Memory Lane, and the other one is Stitched Shapes, and these are very versatile stamp sets that I love using. So to begin with, I stamped that circle, the stitch circle, and I cut it out because that's going to be my moon. Then I took in the oxide inks, and everyone knows how much I love the oxide inks. I took that and I put on that, I cut out the post-it note where I actually stamped the circle, the stitch circle, and then I attached it onto my cardstock layer. And then I started with the peeled paint from the oxide ink, and I just slowly went around that circle. And then I realized it was a little dark. I wanted a lighter green and a lighter halo around the moon, which what you're going to see is going to become the moon. So I took the antique linen from Distress Oxide ink again, and I went over that, just kind of lightening that area and giving the moon a beautiful glow. And I think it looked so cool. When you remove that, it is amazing. It's like magic, and I say this a lot in crafting. A lot of things in crafting it is like magic. That's why I love it so much. But I took another piece of post-it note, and if you have the post-it note that is sticky all over, that's best, but I don't. And like Mimi loves to say, and I totally agree, use what you got, and this is what I had. So I took my post-it note and I made snowbanks. So I just cut it wherever I wanted in waves, and I put it on, and I'm going to be using the same two colors to do the same thing onto the post-it note for the snowbank. So once again, I take the peeled paint and I go over that first. Now, you will see on the side there, I do have another post-it note where I stamp off first using my blending tool. That's because I don't want so much harsh lines on my paper, so that's why I do that. And then I decided I didn't want the moon to be so stark white. I wanted it to kind of have the halo going out and a warm halo or a warm hue to it. So I simply just used that. I didn't take any more ink. I just used what I had on my brush blending tool, and I just blended the moon a little better and the snowbanks a little better, just to not have any harsh lines. Then I took the Memory Lane stamp set, and what I wanted to do was I wanted to have some light trees kind of glowing in the background of the moon. And how I did that was I just took some Onyx Black, actually Memento ink, and I stamped off. So I did second generation inking. So I stamped off on a scratch piece of paper. For me, it was a post-it note, and then I simply stamped it onto my scene that I was creating. Then I decided I wanted it to be a night sky. I love doing night skies and the moon just being the brightest thing in the sky. I just think it looks perfect. So to achieve that look, I took a blue Spellbinders ink that I had. I don't know if they sell this particular ink, but you can use any blue you have. And I just blended that in, and then I took a darker black ink and I did the same thing again. I blended it where the night sky would meet the moon. Then I took that black and just kind of went around the edges because I love doing that. It gives a more complete look. Then I decided my background, my night sky, needed a little bit more purple in it. So I took Wilted Violet from the Oxide ink line, and I just simply went around the moon. I did put that post-it note back onto the moon just because I didn't want the purple to get onto the moon because it's such a deep color. So I just went around that, and I think that finished my night sky off beautifully. Once I was satisfied with my background and my night sky, I moved on to the next step, which was very simple. I just took my aqua brush that I'm so in love with still, and I just dropped a few drops here and there onto the night sky to make it look like stars or snow, whichever. I went with the snow look because, as you will see in a little bit, I will need snow to be falling onto these trees. I then went ahead with my Uniball gel pen, and like I said, I wanted to build snow, so I just put dots all over that background, and I also put snow onto the trees, the Christmas trees, to give it more of a authentic kind of Christmassy look. Now this next part would be much easier to do and achieve the best result if you used a gray Prismacolor pencil. But I had like one of those lazy crafting days, so I had a pencil and I decided I wanted to use my pencil to create some shade on the bottom of that, of the Christmas trees. So you see me doing that. And then I went ahead with the eraser and kind of erased some of it to make it a lighter shade of gray rather than a darker shade of gray. So I did that, and then once I did that, I realized I wanted to write a sentiment, but I wanted my sentiment to be embossed. Now, this is a flat card. It doesn't have too much dimension. So when you have a card like that, you want to add as much depth as possible. That's why we did the night sky, the moon, and then the shading of the trees, and also the snowbanks. Well, this is the last thing I wanted to add, which was emboss raised sentiment. And so I used my embossing buddy and I just went over where I wanted the sentiment to be. Then I used this stamp set from Joy Claire called Holly Jolly, and used the sentiment with my Versamark ink, and I stamped it very, very well onto that side. I wanted to keep it on the side, the sentiment, just to kind of give it a different look. Then I went ahead with any kind of fine detail embossing powder. I wanted to do gold. I really thought the gold would make the sentiment pop in the dark night sky. So I went ahead and did that and used my Wavy heat tool to heat that up and heat set it. Now, before I did do the heat setting, I went ahead and put some more embossing powder just because there was a few places that didn't catch the embossing powder. So I did that, and then I went ahead with my embossing tool, actually rather my heating tool, and then I just heated that. And I like to heat from the front in the beginning, and then go ahead and turn that piece of cardstock over and also emboss in the back, just so if there is any warping of the paper, it is much less when you do that. I then layered this background that I created onto another layered red velvet cardstock, and this has like a velvet texture, but you're not really going to be seeing that too much. I kind of wanted that border but that texture at the same time, so I figured it would be a perfect place to use this cardstock. So I just simply put some art glitter glue onto the back of my the background I created, then I put it on that red velvet cardstock. Now you can use just any kind of cardstock. You can use black, you can use purple, white, any kind. I just wanted a very, very, very tiny little sliver of background, just kind of peeking out to, again, draw all your attention onto the moon and the sentiment and just the whole scene itself. I then glued this whole entire card panel onto a A2 size card base. I decided to stick with just simple white because again, I wanted that background that we created to be the center and the most eye-catching part of this card. So I kept everything else pretty simple, and then I just used my art glitter glue again to just glue this panel onto my card base. And that completes the card. You have this gorgeous card that you made all by yourself, and I think the results are really stunning. I will be mass producing these, and these are very, very easy and simple to mass produce, especially when you know this is how you want it, or this is how you have the moon cut out, and it's very simple. It will just be something very easy to complete, to make many of. I really do hope you guys have been enjoying my watercolor techniques and tutorials, and I know it's probably not professional, but this is how I watercolor and this is how I craft. As many of you know, I have two little kids, so I like to craft fast, easy, and fun. That is how I craft. Now, if you did enjoy this tutorial, please make sure you like this video and share it with your friends so I know that you did enjoy it, and I'll make many, many, many more tutorials like this. Thank you so much. I hope all of you have a wonderful day. Until next time, bye.